Hey guys, so today is a really nice day out. It's a nice, comfortable 83 degrees with a bit of a slight breeze, and so it's really nice. Well, today I thought I'd do a long-term review on all of the trimmers that I have. And so there they all are. So I think without further ado, we'll get started. Now, I've had a couple of requests from a couple of YouTubers. I don't remember their names. They've wanted me to do a versus video on one of the trimmers. I don't remember which ones they were. I guess they wanted me to do a video on seeing how well they would do on cutting tall grass, but unfortunately I don't have any tall grass nowhere, especially since we've been getting cooler weather. My grass is slowly growing and it's almost at the point, it's almost starting to reach its dormant stage, and yeah, so instead I thought I'll just do a long-term review video. So here's the one that we'll do first here, the oldest trimmer. So this is the Echo SRM 2201. Now, I don't remember exactly on what year my dad bought this trimmer. It was either 1989 or 1990, which those were the only years that this trimmer was produced. So it looks, quite frankly, no different than an SRM 2200. I just don't really quite know the difference, but I think they're relatively the same trimmer. So I think that this one must have replaced the 2200. So think about it, it's actually the much older version of the SRM 225 that you would see right here, and it does have the 21.2 cc engine, and it does have the emissions carburetor, which it's kind of surprising though that it has an emissions carburetor just with its age, because there are no mixture screws anywhere on the carburetor, and it is a Walbro carburetor. I don't know if you can see it real well. It's kind of hard to see it from this air cleaner cover. And yeah, and so like on the much older Echoes, see, it calls for a 32-to-1 gas oil mix from what it said on the Echo website, and it also said that you can run a 50-to-1 gas oil mix in them as well. I guess as long as you would use a good quality two-stroke oil like the Echo Power Blend, which that's what I use. And so has a plastic handle on it, unlike where these are rubber molded, and it's more of a U-shaped, and the cutting guard is much wider than the others. And so yeah, and I don't exactly know the size of the gas tank. It looks almost about the same size as the one on the SRM 2400 SB, which that's a 14-ounce gas tank. This one could be possibly a 14 as well. Not too sure. And I believe it originally had an Echo-Matic trimmer head on it, and then my dad put it another trimmer head, not called a rapid loader, well, kind of similar to the rapid loader, where you would just cut a piece of a string, you stick it on the head, like whenever it gets short you just pull it out and then put in a new one. And since I had this extra Echo U-turn head, I just decided to put it on here because I like these better than just those heads where you have to pull the string out and then insert a new one in. I just find that annoying. And so it's even got a thing here where you could put a shoulder strap on it, kind of similar to the little clip on my PAS 230. Now this trimmer, however, it did have a shoulder strap for it, but by the time when my dad was using this trimmer commercially, he lost the shoulder strap. And so, yeah. See, and also here on the muffler cover here has some sort of a ceramic coat on it, which is really nice. Like if you would accidentally come in contact with it, like when the machine is running, it won't burn you, which I thought that's really nice. And so, yeah. And so I think we'll do a startup on it, see how it runs. Okay, so let's turn it on. We'll put it on choke, and the primer bulb is just underneath the carburetor. So put the camera in macro and I'll give it some pushes. Okay, so this trimmer hasn't been started in about, I would say about 3 or 4 weeks, so it's been a little while. So I'll get my camera on the tripod and let's see how it starts. Alright, so squeeze the throttle. This one usually starts easier when I would give it throttle. Okay, so I got the throttle squeezed. Let's see how it starts. Huh. Well, that was no joke. One pull, and it sat for a few weeks. Yeah, that's just the only little problem. Sometimes I just can't seem to keep this thing running. But not too bad. Not too bad for a trimmer that's nearly 25 years old. So, pretty good. And I would have thought it would have been impossible to get this trimmer running. I would have thought that it wouldn't have had enough compression for it to run, and apparently it does. It's got a decent amount of compression, considering that my dad used this trimmer commercially for a couple of years. And so, pretty cool. Alright, so the next one. Now this one ain't actually really a trimmer, it's a power head. So this one here is a Echo SRM 2400 SB. The SB stands for split boom, because on this one, even though that it is a power head, the trimmer attachment was available for it. And so my dad paid $329 for this trimmer 11 years ago around this time. And just like I had said, the trimmer attachment was included with it, and it was not, it did not include the edger attachment, which my dad bought the edger attachment for about $90 along with the SRM 2400 SB. So yeah, but throughout the first years when my dad used this trimmer, he didn't really use the edger attachment that much. He would just use the trimmer just as an edger. And so yeah, so this was the replacement of the SRM 2201, just when it didn't work anymore. So my dad decided to just buy a new trimmer, and this is what he got. So let's see on the specs here, engine displacement is 23.6 cc's, so much more powerful than this one. And one unusual thing, considering that this one has a bigger engine, it's actually a lot lighter, which is real nice. That's what my dad really likes most about it compared to this one. This one is actually a bit heavier, probably because that all of this, the whole cover and stuff, is metal. Just the front here is metal, and then the cover here is plastic, which because with more plastic, that cut back on the weight of the machine, and it has a much more comfortable grip right here, and actually a rubber molded on the handle. I actually love these handles. They're much more comfortable and also less vibration, unlike just the plastic ones. And also, again, the trimmer attachment for this particular trimmer, it had an Echo-matic head, and I had switched it over to the U-turn head, which is actually this particular one here on the SRM 2201. Then I decided to switch it over to the speed feed head, which that's what it has now. And in my opinion, I think the speed feed head, these are the best trimmer heads ever. And I think now Echo has now included speed feed heads now for their curve shaft trimmers now. So I think that's real nice. I guess I should have got it a speed feed head for my grandfather's GT200R, but that's alright, because my grandfather doesn't use his trimmer that much since I cut my grandparents' grass. Pretty much the only time my grandfather uses his GT200R is whenever me and him would cut the grass at my great aunt's house. And so cool. So I guess we'll start this one up as well. Okay, this one was just running this morning because I went to my grandparents' house and cut their grass. Okay, so we'll turn it on, put it on choke. So it's been setting for a few hours, and of course, just like on the SRM 2201. See, the primer bulb is underneath the carburetor because these have very similar carburetors. So we'll give this one about 5 pushes. Okay. I'll just move it back. Cool, definitely a great trimmer. Still running good after having it for 11 years. And it's been used mostly by me. And so, pretty good. It's had a couple of issues in the past before. And let's see, I think around 5 years ago, the spark arrestor screen on the muffler was clogged up, and I was wondering on why that time this thing was being so boggy and smoky. And so that's what it just was. Let's see, and also a couple of years I replaced the coupler, and so yeah, so it's been a great machine. Alright, so now the next one here. This is one of Echo's most popular straight shaft trimmers. They've been around since 2009, and it still does exist now. So this is an Echo SRM 225 that you can get on sale for $199 at either Home Depot or an Echo dealer, which they'll usually cost $199 just for a limited time, and their regular price at around $219, which that's not a bad price. And since this is an older model, it has the Echo U-turn trimmer head on it, whereas the ones from 2011 to now have the speed feed head, just like you see here on my PAS 230 and on my dad's SRM 2400 SB. So it's still pretty good trimmer head. Probably the second best trimmer head in my opinion, along with the speed feed head. So this one here, now this whole handle here, it's all plastic. Just by how the way it's all designed, it's much more comfortable though, which was like this on one of their earlier trimmers, the SRM 265, which is their commercial grade trimmer. This one is also commercial grade too, but it's more for the resident use. This one has a throttle safety trigger, which you can't squeeze the throttle unless you press on the safety trigger in order to squeeze the throttle, which I actually like them. I know some people don't like them, but I don't mind them, they don't bother me. And so yeah, this is actually the newer version of the SRM 210, and also as well as the older SRM 2100, which that's what my aunt has, which they all have the same engines but a different carburetor. Now both the SRM 210 and SRM 225 use the Zama RB series carburetors like you see here. The older SRM 2100s, they use the Zama C1U carburetors, which those are much, I think in my opinion, those are better carburetors, and they have adjustment screws on them. And so yeah. And they also make an SRM 225i, which comes equipped with the i75 starter, which requires 75% less effort to actually start the engine. You only give it a nice slow pull, just like maybe like this, and it'll actually start the engine, which they also have it included on the TC210 mini tiller. So yeah. So how I know that this one's a 2010, because it's got the date here, July of 2010, and I bought this trimmer in late July of 2010. So that means this thing was brand new. And of course the engine displacement, 21.2 cc's. So a very similar engine to on the SRM 2201. So we'll start this one up too. See how it runs. So turn it on, put it on choke, and give it about 5 primes. Okay. Set you up on the tripod. And also with this one, since it's got the i30 recoil starter, it's also pretty easy pulling as well. Not too bad. This thing was just last running probably last week. Yep, definitely a good trimmer. See, in this trimmer I'm running the Craftsman Extra Quiet string. Not a bad string. See, the nice thing about with this string, you can't really hear it. I'll demonstrate that when I rev up the engine. Yep. Cool. Definitely a great trimmer, and I've had this for 3 years now. Definitely worth the $219 for it. Like if you need and if y'all are in the market for a new string trimmer, especially a straight shaft. See, my neighbor bought one last year, I think he got it on sale for $199, which his has the speed feed head. And then finally, the Echo PAS 230, which this is just only a power head. This machine I wasn't really intending on buying. I actually bought it just to have for a backup power head. Back during the time I had so many issues with the SRM 2400 SB, I just didn't have enough time to fix it then because I was just so busy with work and just didn't have the time to fix it though. So that's why I bought this lovely machine here. And it's been a good machine for the last 2 years. I've had a couple of issues with it as well. The first problem with it, I had to replace a new bolt for the coupler, because the bolt started stripping and then it finally broke off. And then the most major problem was the carburetor started acting up, because over the times it would run good, because when you would start to throttle it up, especially at about halfway, the machine would get very boggy, but when you have it at full throttle it would run fine. And so I took the carburetor off and I had just set it all out and cleaned it up, and then just put it all back together, and it wouldn't start anymore. So instead of just getting a carb kit, considering that the whole carburetor was still clean and the diaphragms looked okay, I decided to just get a brand new carburetor for about $45 on motorsforyou.com. And even if I would have taken it to a repair shop, they still would have maybe charged me money, even though it's under warranty. Apparently Echo and a lot of companies don't warranty their machines that would have with fuel contamination problems. And even though if I would have taken it to a repair shop, it probably would have cost me more money. So put a brand new carburetor on for $45, and this thing has ran excellent. So, upside down. So the specs here, you can see it right there. This is a 22.8 cc engine. It was built in June of 2011. So it's quite frankly, it's the same engine that's also used on the SRM 230 trimmer. And what I love most about this one, it's got a larger gas tank. It has a 19.6 ounce gas tank. And now if you were to do a lawn business for residential use, you could probably do about, probably with a full tank of gas, you could probably do at least maybe 8, possibly 8 or 10 average residential lawns without having to refuel it. This thing is pretty good on gas, very fuel efficient, and a lot of power too. A lot more power than the SRM 225. This thing has a lot of power too, for just only 21 cc's. So, like I said, it also has a thing here where you could also put a shoulder strap on it, but I don't really need a shoulder strap. It's pretty light, just maybe a tad heavier than the SRM 225, and it's actually a tad heavier. For some reason, it's just a tad heavier than the SRM 2400 SB, considering that has just a slight bit more cc's than this one. But in my opinion, I think both the SRM 2400 SB and the PAS 230 have the same amount of power, considering that one of them has just more cc's than the other. To me, they have practically almost the same amount of power. And so, yeah. And of course, the handle right here, it's all the same, just like on the SRM 2400 SB, just except that this one has the safety trigger on it, where you can't be able to press the throttle, where you just have to just push it down in order to squeeze the throttle. And it has the newer style on-off switch for them as well, just like on the newer Echo equipments. So cool. So we'll start this one up, and besides, my batteries are fixing to go dead. Okay, so switch is on. She's on choke, and we'll give this one 5 primes. Okay, this one hasn't been started in a couple of weeks. So we'll see how this one will start. She's firing a little bit. Oh yeah, another good running machine, just like the SRM 225. This one seems to have a much raspier sound, which that's what I really love about this one. Alright, cool. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video on all the trimmers, doing the long-term review on all the trimmers that I have. Definitely pretty good machines from Echo. That's all I use, because Echo's been a good brand for me, and also for my family, because my family have been using Echo equipments now for the past 30 years. So that's why I use Echo. Alright guys, so hope y'all enjoyed the video. So thanks for watching.